Hi, guys.
Hello, everyone.
How are we doing? It's a beautiful Tuesday again here. We're in Oklahoma, and it's actually a really decent day.
Yeah, we finally had
Shocking.
like a little bit of a cold front come through. There's no hundreds in the forecast, which is awesome. It's been so hot here lately.
Well,
So,
everybody, welcome to us, our live stream. It's going to be fun. We're going to be talking all about things that we've learned this year. And there's quite a few. I feel like we had to narrow it down because we probably could have talked all day about things that have gone right, things that have gone wrong, things that we've learned along the way.
yeah. And school is back in session. So we have the house to ourselves for the first live stream in a long time. We've been
It's very
trying
quiet.
to do this with
It's
babies
weird.
crawling around us and little kids and everything. And so this should be the least stressed one we've had in a bit. If y'all will let us know if you can hear us okay. Last week we had some audio issues, so we hopefully fixed it. Got a brand new mic here.
Welcome, Oscar.
Hey, Oscar. We are Dell and Carrie Spoonmore, and we are the creators of the app, along with a couple of our best friends that help us build the app as well. So we started this app kind of out of our living room kitchen, like we are now, and then a couple of years ago we partnered with Park Seed to be able to work on it full time. So that's who we are, and we're going to be talking about just stuff we've learned in our garden. Like she said, we are in Oklahoma City. We started growing food back in 2015. I think I got a picture up here. I don't.
Yeah.
Can you, if you go to our website, seedtospoon.net, it's got like a before and after of our garden, and you can kind of see how we went from, maybe you can share your screen or something and show it. We went from basically never having grown food to completely changing our entire backyard into gardens, and we got obsessed, and we wanted to make an app to make it easier for you all to do the same thing. So it calculates planting dates. I mean, if you came here through the app, you've seen it a little bit enough to know some of the stuff it does, but we have a lot of content where we've talked a lot about the app, but today we're going to focus on stuff we've learned this year, because it's been obviously a lot. We I think 15 slides I think we came up with on things we've learned just so far this year. We're only like halfway through the gardening season, so
we'll probably have to do another one like the end of the year to include like things from late summer and fall, winter even. I mean, we included some of the things that we learned like from this winter, which was like January on. So we do have a lot of cold season things that we have learned along the way. Lots of things, but I would love to hear from you guys too. First of all, where you guys are. We are here in Zone 7 in Oklahoma City, and I would love to hear from you guys, see where you guys are all joining us from. And I would love to hear too, like if there's anything that you guys have learned along the way that you guys want to share with us, with everybody else. I'd love to hear it.
Yep, because we are doing giveaways, and all you have to do to be entered to win is just leave a comment, and you'll be entered to win a free 1-year premium app subscription to our Seed to Spoon app. That's going to give you unlimited questions with Growbot. It's going to give you the capability to send pictures to Growbot. You get free shipping. You get unlimited plants. There's a whole lot of stuff you get with that. So someone's going to get that today. All right. Well, let's jump in and start talking.
We have a winner from last week.
We do.
Do you remember? Sorry, I have a computer down here too because I'm doing chat and stuff too.
Normally I'm doing that, and then she's doing like camera by herself. But I can't do both. Like I just get really easily distracted. So whenever I'm on here, she's got to be running the laptop. We did have a winner from the last one though.
Yeah, I got to pull it up. Hold on, I can't remember who you said. Who was it that you said? Where is it?
The top. It was Misty Brown.
Okay. Well, I'm not as tech savvy as he is. I'm not as fast. So congratulations,
Misty Brown. We're gonna go to the YouTube video from last week and comment on there, so you'll know. Yeah. So, and just to kind of explain how you enter to win, we have 2 giveaways that we do. One is going to be live today during this live stream. Someone that's left a comment during this chat will win. And then afterwards, once this live stream is over, it goes to our YouTube channel. And then you can leave comments on that YouTube video, and then that's going to run for the next week. So if you're catching this, like not while we're live, you still have a chance to win. Just go comment on that video on YouTube where you're watching it from right now, and you'll be entered to win. And we'll announce that one next Tuesday on our live stream. So, okay, well, let's jump in and talk about some gardening stuff, because I'm really excited to talk about our first topic that we have. So, zinnias. I think zinnias are the ultimate like mental health garden summer hack, because in the summer it gets really tough and it can be hard on your mental health, honestly, because if you've put so much time and effort into building this garden and it did great all spring, and then come summer you're battling all these bugs and pests, and it's 110 degrees outside and you can't even go outside without feeling you're going to suffocate. You have to like set alarms to get up to garden in the morning. It's just like a lot harder gardening. And zinnias have been so wonderful for us because we planted a ton of them. Park seed carries just an astronomical
it's nearly
number.
100. I've counted them before. I think it was like 98 or something like that. But they're always adding more. So they might be at 100 now. So there are literally more zinnias than we can actually grow, which is an amazing problem to have.
But we're trying, and
we've
got like,
believe me,
2 entire garden beds just dedicated to rows of different varieties of zinnias. Because if you joined us in the past, you know that we're both like OCD and just love to try every variety and all of that. So that's what we're doing with zinnias. And it has been so cool because we're at the point now where pretty much every day we can go outside and without having to do anything to these zinnias. We have a sprinkler that runs and that's it. These zinnias completely take care of themselves. There's no pests, there's no nothing. And look at...
I did put a picture of one of our bouquets up there too.
So like this is the ultimate like husband hack. Is like all I had to do is sprinkle some seeds, and every day I get to bring her a new bouquet of flowers, and she gets so excited. It's very minimal effort for a lot of reward,
and it brings a lot of like brightness and cheeriness into the house too, and outside.
Yeah, there's like life everywhere.
I was gonna say the life that is in those garden beds, because there's so many butterflies, bumblebees, I mean, you name it. Like I can't go out there without seeing like at least 10 in the zinnia bed. It's amazing.
Yeah, and we also have, sunflowers and cosmos and other stuff too, but the zinnias are just so easy, and then they reseed themselves. Like it's really become one of my favorite things to grow, especially in the summer, because like I said, a lot of things get tough. We've had some successes in the summer, but we've also had some failures, especially with squash, and we've lost the battle with squash bugs again this year. But zinnias have been awesome, really have helped out with mental health and all of that. So, and like Michelle said, pollinators too.
Yeah.
Okay. So our next thing that we've learned this year, Carrie, you want to take this one?
Oh, yes. Sorry, let me... I know I'm not as...
It's hard to do both. I know.
I got this.
I know.
I got this.
Here, when you're talking, I'll do it.
Okay. So I did have to include this because this is a huge change for me out in the garden too. Because before I felt like I had to memorize everything. That was, first of all, like every disease that could possibly be wrong, every pest that could possibly be out there. And the fact that they now like built this Growbot, like the identification feature has helped me so much out in the garden. Just simply like taking a picture of a pest, sending it up to Growbot, like, what is this? And it's helped me a lot. And then also like, what's wrong with my plant? And it's told me like, you need to add some fertilizer to it, things like that. So, I mean, there's just been so much that it has helped me with, and it's incredible. It was something that we dreamed of a long time ago. And it was really exciting to actually get it out this year.
Yeah, whenever we first started, so Justin is our lead developer, and he and I worked together at another job when we kind of first started this, and we were at a Microsoft conference together. And this was kind of when the first iterations of what later became ChatGPT were starting to come out. And back then our minds were blown at what was possible, but it meant a lot of things we weren't like. It meant getting like millions of images of all the pests in order for us to have it. And it just, long story short, whenever we finally released this into Growbot, we were so excited because this really was the dream for us from the beginning. There were a number of dreams. One was like calculating all the dates for you, making that easy. Yes. Another one was making it easy to know what is going on in your garden, what to do. Take a picture of a plant or a pest, and it tells you what to do about it. And then the third one was being able to like plan your garden and map it out. And I got some really cool stuff to talk about on that soon. Not quite yet, but we are very deep into working on it, and we've got some really cool demos and stuff coming up on that. So,
yeah.
Okay, next thing.
Okay, yes, I have to talk about this one
Okay.
because I was so excited. And this is actually like this past weekend. We like all day Sunday, I feel like we went through and we first of all, we harvested so many different peppers and tomatoes out there, and we're like, oh my gosh, what are we going to do with all of them? In the past, we've always just either used them or frozen them. We haven't been that like creative with canning before. Canning intimidates me. I don't know about you guys, but I've always like felt like it was way harder than it actually is. I was very shocked, honestly, and I was very excited. So I am super excited to share with you that this weekend we canned we did diced tomatoes, we made tomato sauce, and then we also made pickled peppers and canned those, which was awesome.
Yeah, and
Great.
If you haven't had pickled peppers yet, you've got to try it. If you like peppers at all, we had never made these before this year. We always either froze our peppers or we would dry them, but we never made anything like this. And now they go on pretty much every single sandwich I make, or any wrap or quesadilla or any of it. It's awesome. Really enjoying that. And then we had what the kids declared the best spaghetti of their lives.
Yes.
Last week, and credit goes to those Roma tomatoes that we used for. Actually, those were some cherry tomatoes we used for that one. But we've got cherry tomatoes and Roma tomatoes that we went through and made sauce and diced tomatoes from, and it was fun. The whole family was involved. Everybody was, working on it together. The kids thought it was cool. It was a cool thing to do. I'm glad we did it. So.
Okay, so I feel you, but I honestly I make these pickled peppers a lot, and pretty much what I've always done is I just make them and then I put them in the fridge and we use them within, like 2 to 4 weeks. But I wanted to try canning them this time, but it really, all I had to do extra was once I made it, I just popped those cans into a water bath for 10 extra minutes. And then I took it out and let them cool. And that's it. Like, it was so simple, and it didn't add a lot of extra time. Like, I just walked away from it, let it do its thing. Now the tomatoes were a lot longer. The tomatoes were like 40 minutes that I had to let sit on the stove and boil. So it is time consuming, but it wasn't really a whole lot of extra work, I feel like, than what we would have done.
Plus, some people like on date night will pay to go somewhere to do this. Like, you can just do it for free. You can, like, instead of going to a class where you do this, you can do it for free at home.
Yeah.
Because it really felt kind of like we were we were just having so much fun doing it together, and the whole family. You just got to make it like a whole activity. If you're doing it by yourself, that would suck. Definitely.
Yeah, and for sure, like it. Yes, absolutely agree.
Yeah.
Small batches, like this was probably like 3 or 4 different batches that we did over the course of that day. But we pretty much just left the water boiling, and we just were like, oh, let's just make some more. Let's make some of this. Let's make some more of that. And yeah.
Did you put out a recipe?
I do, actually. I have a recipe on the app also, as well as a YouTube video that I can.
It's gonna be hard to find, but if you just go into the
up.
app and go to peppers, it should be under recipes there.
Yes.
Because we do have a recipes tab on each plant. If you go to that plant and go to the details page, you can just tap recipes and it takes you to all of our recipes.
Now, I will say I made that recipe probably like a month ago or so, and I did not include any information on how to can it, though, because I hadn't done that yet. So I'll have to go back in there and edit now and just be like, if you want to can it, but really, if you want to can it, you just add 10 minutes into a water bath.
Yeah, and at a high level, it's really simple. You just cut up the peppers, you put them in a jar, you boil. What's the mixture of vinegar and?
Just 1 to 1.
Just 1 to 1 of apple cider vinegar and water. And then you pour that into it, and
I add some like garlic, salt, sugar. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's all there is to it. It's really simple. So we have the video and blog posts and stuff. Just at a high level, that's all you really need to do on it.
Yeah, but if you don't can it, like it'll last like 2 to 4 weeks in the fridge.
And you can tell, like, the color will start to
Yeah.
fade from them. They won't taste as good. Like, same way with onions. We can onions the exact same way where we make pickled red onions. That's another thing that, like, we've really started doing a lot this year. And then again, on pretty much every wrapper sandwich I make goes some of these pickled onions, pickled peppers. It just makes everything taste awesome.
Yeah, but if you do can it, like, I mean, it'll last, I mean, however long. I mean, yeah. I'm not going to give a time frame because I feel like that's where you get in trouble. But honestly, like, they're supposed to last a very, very, very long time if you can them.
If you ever go to Jersey Mike's, it like reminds me a lot of like the little relish they put on the sandwiches. So that's kind of where, yeah. Okay, move on to the next slide.
How many peppers per jar? I saw that. So I mean, it probably not too many. I mean, just enough from like 1 or 2 plants that they have a full amount of peppers on them. I mean, we really didn't have more than, I don't know, a few pepper plants that were producing. So
yeah, and you can do a smaller jar. I mean,
yeah.
10 to 15 peppers will be plenty for making a small jar. Okay, so weed control is something I feel like we learned some on. We still didn't do a great job, but it was a much better job this year than we did last year, because in the spring, let me go full screen on this. We laid down this black weed cloth everywhere around the raised beds and then put wood chips on top of that. Now, in the past, we've used cardboard for something like this, but I had a lot of area to do. I wasn't going to be able to get enough cardboard, and I wanted to try out some of these weed cloths again because I'm not fighting Bermuda grass anymore. I'm fighting seeds that are sprouting. In my old yard, I was fighting Bermuda, so I used cardboard there. So one thing that we learned a lot about was the quality of the weed fabric really matters. I tried out some of the cheaper weed fabric, and then I also tried some of the like industrial ones that they use in like on small farms and stuff like that. And I definitely learned that the more you spend on it, the better off you're going to be. It really matters because there's a big difference. Now, I will say, like, even where it was cheaper, like where we did use the cheaper weed cloth, it still did way better. But like pretty much around all of these beds here is pretty much weed free. Got a couple things sprouting here or there, but nothing like it is around the outskirts where we didn't have any of that. Now, one thing I learned is I should have created a larger buffer zone because, like, you can see, like, out here, I don't know if y'all can see where my mouse is. No, they can't see where my mouse is. Darn. Towards the top right of the screen, like, there was no weed cloth up there, and that became an overgrown mess in a hurry, and then that kind of started to encroach into the garden a little bit. So still some work I need to do about giving us more of a buffer zone. I think what we want to be able to do is just have a ton of flowers that take root back over there, like zinnias that just grow and then make it to where the weeds can't really grow there. But around the raised beds themselves have been like, there have been like weeds inside the raised bed, like just normal stuff, but it hasn't been like it hasn't been nearly like it has been in the past where it just becomes overwhelming and we can't even garden in there by July.
And I will say, investing in the actual like heavy duty, like the landscape fabric made a huge difference as opposed to like the really thin stuff that we used before.
We did make our own raised beds, and I used cheap wood because I had to build a lot of them. If I would have had like a cedar would have been better, but I had a lot of raised beds to build in a hurry, and a lot of these raised beds are for trials that we're doing for varieties and stuff like that. So it's not necessarily going to be all like food that we're eating. It's just a lot of test gardens and stuff. So we also have a lot of smart pots that we use. This was like before I had our smart pots laid out when I was just building the raised beds is what this picture is. And those have done awesome too. Okay. Next slide. Yeah. So something we learned a couple of years ago that I feel like was really reinforced this year. It was the value of these electric fences if you have any type of livestock or any type of animals are going to be trying to get in your garden. So this white fencing here is a portable electric fencing that you just hook up to like a solar panel with the charger, and it sends a shock to it every like couple seconds. And before we had this up, like we had just the fence up, but without the electric run to it, and we kept having issues with goats getting in, or pigs, or chickens. I think that's all we fought on. I think the dog.
Pretty much everything.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
So pretty much as soon as we got the electric back on it, that went away. And the goats are awesome because they are what helped me keep the rest of the property clear, because they go down and eat like everything around the gardens and keep the weeds from like coming in too bad. But they also want to go in and eat the stuff in the garden too. So it's electric fencing. It's made by Premier One. If you want to know more about that,
and it's not like super, like, I know everybody always, whenever we're like, oh, you have an electric fence, they're always scared about that. But honestly, like if you touch it, it's no different than getting shocked. Like if you have like dry air and you touch like a light switch or something, like it's really no different than that. I mean, it's like a whoo.
It's a great substitute. It's a great substitute for coffee if you're tired. It wakes you right up. Okay. You want to talk about this one? I know that you're really excited.
I definitely feel you there.
And they have chicken netting fencing too, although the regular ones works on our chickens too.
Yes. Okay. So this is a brand new variety that Park Seed just got. So they just started with this one. It is a Whopper Junior. So I know you guys I'm sure everybody has heard of the Parks Whopper tomato, which is awesome. It's that huge slicing tomato. Those are great. But this is a junior one, which are these cherry tomatoes, and they have a red and a pink one. And I will say our red one is just flourishing and looks amazing, but nothing is going to beat the taste of these pink ones right here. They are my new favorite tomato. Like I like tomatoes, but I'm typically not one that will just go out to the garden and start munching on tomatoes. But I will do it with these ones. These are pretty much like I will go out to the garden and I will just devour these because I don't know what's different about them, but they are just so, I don't know, they're so much tastier. I love them.
Yeah, I agree. I'm same as her. Like I don't really like tomatoes by themselves. They're a little too tart. But these ones are really sweet. They taste incredible.
They are so good. And the same as the kids. Like the kids love these ones too. Like they taste incredible. I love them. They're probably my favorite tomatoes that we've ever grown. And they're a vining tomato. They're doing really well. I love it. Even the red ones are doing terrific too. They're doing great.
And they're great for small spaces. It's not like a giant vine.
Yeah.
Yeah. These have been awesome.
Yeah, so it's my newest favorite. Had to include that. Oh, I probably should have popped a link up for that one. I got too excited talking about it. Oh, thank you, Mariana. We have a helper too, Mariana. Everybody say hi.
Thanks, Mariana. It's here. There's a link here in the chat if you want to check out those.
Yes, check them out. They're incredible.
Okay. On the topic of tomatoes, this is something we've known for a while, but just really reinforced this year was how awesome Roma tomatoes are. They are always the tomato that handles the heat best for us, that handles us going on vacations in the summer the best. Like it's the best tomato we found, and we get so many tomatoes from it.
Especially now that we've discovered how simple it actually was to can and preserve them. Like this, it was amazing to have just a whole bunch of Roma tomatoes. We just went out there and harvested a whole bunch, and it was really easy to go through and make our diced tomatoes, our tomato sauce.
And one thing I want to show in this picture too is you see like all the companion planting we did with this, I think really helps. So there's a ton of basil all around. Like the tomatoes are buried in that basically.
They're right in the middle.
There's basil all around it. There's marigolds. There's zinnias that are right next to it. So that's been our most successful tomato garden by far, has been this Roma area and these Roma tomatoes.
Yeah. Oh, and parsnips. Yes. I had to include these because we grew, I don't know, we probably grew like one row of them, like one or two rows. and they were so good. We did not grow nearly enough of them. So I'm really excited for fall now because I can grow more parsnips. It was just one of those things that's just completely random thing that we didn't really think about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was kind of like a potato mixed with a carrot.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I felt like it tasted. We just roasted them the same way we roast pretty much every root crop, as we just dice them into 1-inch cubes and roast them at like 400 for like 30 minutes.
Yeah, it was so good. So we're definitely going to be growing a lot more parsnips. I know it's something completely random, but it is definitely something that we learned this year that we love.
Okay, so these PVC dome hoop houses have been awesome, especially in the early spring. Let me talk a little bit about these. So we have guides on our YouTube, I think on pretty much everywhere, about how to build these. Costs about $70 to build them. And it's basically just a 2x4 frame with PVC pipe, and then you put you can either do insect netting or you can do plastic sheeting, whatever you want to put over the top. And these were a lifesaver in the spring because it really helped us get through some. Oklahoma has very unpredictable weather that really cycles between like we have days in January where it gets into the 80s or 90s almost, and then we're going to be down in the teens like the next week. So plants really struggle with that type of environment, and these hoop houses allow us to regulate the temperature inside of them. It was incredible the difference in the temperature inside versus outside, especially on a sunny day. Like, so it would be 20 or 30 degrees outside, and it would be 40 or 50 inside of the hoop house. So it was awesome in the early spring for that. It was also very helpful for keeping pests off of our broccoli and cabbage and all of those brassicas, because we switched to the insect netting by the time it got too hot. And
I will say we also use the insect netting for the beginning stages of our zucchinis and squashes and things like that. Just to help them get through their vulnerable, like whenever they were really small, to get them a little bit closer to producing for us until we had to battle vine borers and squash bugs.
So yeah, and we didn't use them as much in the summer because a lot of the plants that we were growing got too tall for them. So we ended up having to take them off for the summer, but they're going to be going back on for the fall now. And they've been awesome. So we do have instructions for building them. We have a lot of videos on Instagram that show it. I'm sure we have a blog post as well.
Yeah, I have a full video also that just
YouTube
goes
video
through.
So if you just go to our YouTube channel and search for PVC Dome, that you'll find it that way. And we can follow up, like after this is over, we can put a comment in there.
And then also on our Instagram page too, if you go to our reels, I think we have it pinned to the very top. We have just like a really short, like taking you step by step, just showing you every step by step how we did it.
Yep. And they're simple. I'm by no means a construction person. I don't build things generally, but this is about the extent of my engineering capabilities. Okay. So this has been an awesome one. Right
That's
behind
actually,
us.
yep,
Yeah. So that's
right
what it
here.
looks like behind us. We have a number of things. We've got our zinnias I talked about earlier, but these tiny little tomatoes, that's as big as they're going to get. And this variety of tomatoes, so this whole line of plants is called Kitchen Mini. And it's one of the awesome varieties that we carry in our Park Seed store. They're hard to find. Like they're not exclusive to us, but like they're not something you're going to find very often or very many places. And they are absolutely awesome because they are designed they're not like genetically modified or anything. This is just all through like breeding and the hybrid process. But these tomatoes and peppers only get to be a foot or two tall. Then they stop growing and they put out all their tomatoes or peppers or whatever they have. And it's been so cool to have these peppers and tomatoes like right inside the house, and to know that we're going to have peppers and tomatoes year round has been awesome too.
Yeah, it's amazing.
We have them right out here behind this window, which is a pretty sunny window, but we also have these grow lights that you can barely even see, that are super thin, that I hung with fishing wire, so you can't really even tell that they're there. And they're awesome. Yeah, we really like having tomatoes and peppers year round.
Yeah, it's made, and they have hot peppers, they have sweet peppers. Like so we're growing like one of each and two different cherry tomato types. They're so great. I love them.
And the kids think it's super cool.
Yeah.
Like they're always coming over and checking on them and stealing our tomatoes.
Yeah,
So
I actually just started another round because we wanted to grow more. So I was like, I feel weird starting tomatoes and peppers indoors right now, but yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and do it because we're gonna have them all winter long.
So the name of our YouTube channel is From Seed to Spoon. That should be where you're watching us from right now. So if you just click on subscribe on wherever you're watching now, you should be able to find us through there. And then our app is also called From Seed to Spoon. And there's a QR code in the top left that you can scan with your phone. Just pull up your camera and hover over it, and it'll you can tap a URL to go to our website where you can download our app, which is on iOS and Android. We also have a web version too.
I saw this. Hey, it's our winner too.
Hey, Missy.
Yeah.
Congratulations. You, because you didn't, maybe she wasn't here earlier.
No, I did. I saw her pop in. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So you won earlier. I don't know if you know that yet, but you won the giveaway from last week. So congratulations.
So you're actually going to be getting free shipping now too, because she's a yearly subscriber to the app. So yeah.
Is our garlic sold out? I haven't looked. Do you know?
I don't think so.
Carrie's going to look and see if our garlic is sold out, but we should still have garlic.
Yeah, I haven't noticed. Let me look.
We still have some in. So if you go to our website, or if you go,
purple garlic is in too. I love the purple garlic. Yeah, we have a
we have music garlic in. We have a lot of them. Yeah. So if you go to parkseed.com, then you can get garlic through there. We also have garlic in the app as well.
She's gonna want to shop through the app to get free shipping.
To get her free shipping. Yep.
I got your back, Misty.
Okay. Our next slide.
Yes. So more ways to grow vertical. We discovered the green stalk, the vertical growing. They're amazing. I absolutely love them. We got all sorts of different colors of them, but this is a picture of one that we grew this past spring with a bunch of different lettuce varieties. So each row, we had a different variety of lettuce. It was really fun. I loved it. We would go out there and taste test each lettuce and see which one we liked better. And it was really fun. It was an amazing way to grow. I loved it. It was so fun. So we ended up getting a lot of them. And we have a lot of them on our porch. They're perfect for saving space. They're great vertical growing areas. I love it.
And come summer, they're pretty much all basil towers because that's the easiest thing to grow.
Basil herb. We have a strawberry one.
Yeah.
If I had enough flowers, I definitely would have done more, but we use all of our flowers in hanging baskets and stuff. Yeah. I need to start more flower seeds next year. That's something I need.
We have a pink one that we still have to put together, and we're going to do flowers in that one. Some other ways of growing vertical that we tried this year for the first time were these wallflowers that you see over on the left, these black hanging things. They've been awesome. They're made by Smart Pots. I believe we carry them in our store, or we're going to be
Not
really
yet.
soon.
Yeah.
Okay.
Intent. We will soon.
But these have been awesome. We've got them hanging all sorts of different places. I tried this PVC thing that you see there. That failed miserably. That did not go well.
But the Smart Pot wallflowers are amazing. We use them outside as well, like on this fence line. We used them in our sunroom over here. We use them in a lot of different places, and those were awesome. They're just almost like little pockets. It was cool. Yeah.
Question here about whether or not the strawberries will survive over the winter. They're definitely not gonna they're gonna need more help than strawberries that are in the ground. You got to make sure you stay on top of watering and all of that kind of stuff, because if they dry out too much in the winter, or if they get too cold, water will help regulate them getting too cold too. So we're going to find out, because this is going to be our first winter having strawberries in them over the winter. But I know just traditionally, when we tried to grow strawberries in containers or anything like that, we just have to make sure we're more vigilant about watering, because it doesn't have the ground to insulate it. Yeah.
Yes. So automated sprinklers. So we put this on here because I know everybody, and including us, it is best to do irrigation and or to hand water and all of that. But honestly, just watering is the best thing to do. As long as your plants are being watered, that is, yeah.
Yeah. So like I think the point of what we want to say on this slide is that you're going to see a lot of things that talk about how you need to have drip irrigation, you need to be doing this, you need to be doing that. But you may not be in a position.
Sorry.
But you may not be in a position where you can set that up. We just built all those gardens in spring. I wasn't able. My hope was to build drip irrigation before we got to summer, but it didn't happen. So what we ended up doing was setting up just automated sprinklers, and then we have a really nice and easy to use controller that we can adjust how often they run, and I adjust that accordingly. And this has really saved us, because if it was up to me just hand watering or setting up the drip irrigation, our plants would not have done very well this summer at all. And a lot of things have done really well because they're getting automated, watering. Now, the challenges that come from this are you're watering everything around there, so you're going to have way more weeds. We haven't had that many issues where I laid down the weed cloth, but definitely around there, you are going to use more water. So that's definitely a consideration, especially if you're somewhere where water is scarce. But if it means that this is the difference between you gardening or not gardening, I think it's worth it just to set up automated sprinklers to make sure that everything's getting watered with the goal of working towards drip irrigation. So one of our goals is to set up drip irrigation this fall. Our friend Edvin over at Smart Pots, who's in the chat usually, I think, yeah, they're in here today, has offered to come over and help me set it up too. So we'll probably make a video when we do that and show how to set up drip irrigation. But it is going to take me a weekend to do it, and I haven't had a weekend to do that. So the automated sprinklers have really saved us. And and another thing I'll say too, now, yeah, this is a great thing to mention too. Our sprinklers are set to run in like the first crack of dawn in the morning. That way, the water isn't going to sit on the plants overnight. So there's definitely some considerations you need to take when you do overhead watering. But in my mind, it's not any different than it just raining every 3 days. The plants are going to get watered, when it rains. So
yeah, I think the biggest thing is, like you said, like try and make sure you water first thing in the morning instead of evening. You'll reduce your risk for like powdery mildew, things like that. That's typically what people talk about whenever it's overhead watering. So, but as long as you're doing it first thing in the morning, it's not super overcast. I mean, it's going to dry up and you'll be fine.
Yeah. So like, just make sure you don't have your tomatoes too crowded, because you don't want that.
And diseases.
Yeah. But we have all our tomatoes growing on these arch cattle panel trellises. So they're all like up in the air. They're drying out pretty quick. So yeah. I was going to make another point I was going to make too is, so yes, you are going to have additional weeds, but some of those weeds are like things like sunflowers. We have like sunflowers just everywhere across the property. And these giant sunflowers, we have like 20-foot tall sunflowers. I'm not kidding you. Like, they're literally 20 feet tall just around the property that have been planted wild from birds and squirrels and everything else, just from throwing some seeds out when we first moved on the property. So that is kind of an upside of this is, yeah, like you're going to get a lot more like life around the garden, and you just kind of have to be selective about choosing what you mow down and what you don't. Thank you, Evan.
I'm glad that it's really fun for him. You're gonna have a whole bunch of fun then.
Okay.
Okay. So I had to put this on here because it's really funny. So first of all, I love calendula, and I learned how to say calendula too this year, which is awesome because I didn't know. I've never grown it before. I was like calendula, like and yeah, I got corrected. I was like, oh, okay. You see, so everybody learns something new every year, and this was something that I learned, and I love calendula now. It is so amazing. It's so beautiful, and it did so well for us. We started several different varieties from Park Seed by seed indoors and transplanted them outside. They're still doing amazing. Like, they struggled a little bit in the summer because of the heat, because we get like 100+ days, like temperature days, and they are not by any means one that likes warm season. So I was impressed that they survived most all summer, and they're still like, they're coming back and looking amazing. I was out there the other day, and I was like, oh, I love these flowers so much. I can't believe this is our first year to grow them. And they were amazing companion plants too. Like they've done wonders for our tomatoes, and yeah.
Yeah, when we first started growing food, we really didn't grow very many flowers. We grew marigolds and morning glories and a couple other things, but we really dove in this year and tried to grow a lot more flowers. And it's been one of the highlights this year, I think, for us is just there's so many things to enjoy about these different flowers. And calendula is something you can use as like, there's a lot of like balms and stuff you can make for it for skin issues. There's just a lot of good uses for it.
I think I know what's next. Yep. And I will say too, so this was our first year really growing a lot of flowers from seed. And it was something that we did not do enough of. I mean, even though I feel like we started a couple different biodomes full of seeds in different varieties, it was awesome. But I didn't do enough. I needed to do a whole lot more. And I'm going to definitely be growing a whole lot more come this next spring, because I want to, we set up this hanging basket area actually in our garage, which was awesome. Almost just like a clothes hanging rack almost, where you can just like hang up your hanging baskets. So we started a lot and like grew a lot of them in there. It was so fun. And I want to do so many more next year.
And it saved us so much money because each one of those
Yes.
hanging baskets is $25 or $30 if you
Yeah.
go to the store.
Yeah. And honestly, like, I mean, it's only 5 plants, and I started like in a biodome, I can get like 60 flowers started, and it's just, yeah, it's incredible. So that can make me like 6 hanging baskets right there. Boom,
Yeah.
done. Love it. But I actually just have been seed starting too for this fall. I'm growing a lot of like the cooler season ones too. I just started a bunch of those, so I'm excited to do more.
What else did you start?
So that's actually this picture right here that I took the other day. So I did a lot of pansies, viola, which they're very similar, but snapdragons, asters, more calendula, because I love it. I think that was it. It was just a bunch of different varieties of those ones.
If you follow us on Instagram, she's posting about this stuff all the time. Always kind of showing, like, this picture probably came from an Instagram post she put up.
Yeah.
So yeah. So follow us there. Again, it's just Seed to Spoon. If you also in the app, there's links to Instagram and all that places. And
Awesome.
a lot of this stuff goes to YouTube also, like some of the shorts and stuff also.
Yay, Mary. I'm so glad that she'll be growing more. I know I definitely
Thank you,
do.
Mary.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
microgreens.
Microgreens are something we've grown in the past, but not to the extent that we do now. And the biggest thing we've learned about microgreens this year are that cilantro microgreens are a game changer. They are so good. And cilantro is finicky. Like, there's certain times of the year where you're going to have a lot of it and it's going really well. As soon as it starts to get hot, it's going to bolt, it's going to change flavor. And then, like, when you're making salsa all summer and you have these tomatoes, you have no cilantro, and it's frustrating. And I've tried things like other varieties of plants that taste like cilantro, like Rao Ram, which is like a Vietnamese cilantro, and it's okay, but it just doesn't have the same flavor. I don't like it near as much. And when we learned how easy it is to grow cilantro microgreens and how amazing they taste, it really was kind of eye-opening, because we realized that we don't have to rely on the short growing season of cilantro in order to have cilantro year round. We can just grow it as a microgreen year round. The picture on the right of the pink tray are what microgreens look like when they're ready for harvest for cilantro.
So pretty. Like, the cilantro microgreens are probably the most prettiest microgreens I've ever seen. They're so good.
And they taste almost kind of sweet. Like, you can catch cilantro like in January tasting really sweet. And that's kind of what the microgreens taste like. They're incredible. Even the kids like it. Like, it's by far our favorite microgreen. And we try to have a tray going year round. Not always great at it, but for the most part, like, we're starting one. Like, every time we think about it, we start one. So, and then also peas. So this was the first year that we grew peas as microgreens, and they were awesome. Also, the kids especially love them. They'll go in there and just pull them and snack on them.
Yeah, they just devour it because they actually do like taste oddly like peas. So, and they love peas. So they would literally just go in there and start pulling them and eat them. I was fine with it. I'm like, yeah, do it.
And it was super useful to have it for stir fries.
Yeah.
Especially in December and January, like, even February, before you're going to be getting anything out of the garden, you can get some green. And so, kind of go along with what we talked about with, they do look like a
I know.
photo.
I saw that. I was like, yeah, they do. A little
But-
miniature corn.
But between the microgreens and the indoor tomatoes and peppers, they've really helped us out with our goal of growing food year round, and with taking some of the pressure off of feeling like you have to be growing outside. Like, there have been times where we're just too busy to spend a lot of time outside in the garden, but we can spend 10 to 15 minutes getting some microgreens planted and getting it set up. And taking care of them is easy. It's just pretty much once a day you go in there and water them. We have lights that are controlled by an automated timer. It's all really simple. We have it like set up right in our pantry, so it's like right next to the rest of our food. The biggest challenge we have is keeping our 2-year-old from getting in there and trying to take them all.
That's really true. Actually, I battled the 10-month-old this morning too. He was like in there, like taking the lid off of the biodome. I'm like, no, those are my flowers.
Yeah, we need to add children as a pest into the app.
I think we do. Yeah.
If we put a layer of toys between the microgreens and the door, he'll get distracted. Just
Yeah,
put
that's
rolling
true.
cars.
That's true.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that our last slide?
That
All
was
right.
the last one.
We did it. We
I
made it. I was worried if we were going to be able to get through them all in time. But
I know.
we did
I
it. We
can't
got
believe
time
we
to spare.
Okay. Let's see. I'm sorry. You have questions pulled up for me already, don't you?
We've got some in here. It looks like Mariana went in here and pulled some up. So we got a question from Mary. Their flowers have been grown in the fall. We covered this a
Absolutely.
little bit, but you just want to rattle off like a list of a few.
Yeah, so pansies, violas, snapdragons, calendula, mums. I mean, those are all ones that do really well in the cool temperatures.
This is awesome. And
Aw,
welcome.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we love it too. Like, we do feel like we've got a little community here.
It is great.
A lot of you we see every week, and we feel like we know you a little bit.
We
and-
just sit here and chat.
Yeah.
It's fun.
And this is great not having children climbing around our feet while we're trying to do it. I'm glad
Trying to keep
school is
them
back
quiet.
in. Yeah, I know.
Yes, I'm a huge fan of them. Yeah, and hopefully we'll be having those in the app at some point.
So garlic, most people plant it about a month before your last frost, or around that time. Like, for us, it's in October. The app will calculate it for you and tell you when to plant garlic based on where you live. But pretty much, you can plant it. I mean, even in here, like, you can get away with planting it anytime the ground is workable. Well, here's basically what garlic needs. Garlic needs to be planted before it freezes. It needs to go through like a couple months of really cold temperatures, and then it needs to have spring. Like, that's the trick with garlic. If you just plant it in the spring and it never went through like really cold temperatures, it's not going to grow good bulbs. So there's ways you can trick it in the spring by like putting it in the fridge or the freezer for a few weeks and doing stuff like that. But the best thing to do with garlic is just plant it in like October, depending on where you are. For us, it's October.
Plant it and forget about it.
Yep. And then you'll harvest it next year in like June. Again, for us, it's June. Depending on where you are, it could be a little bit different.
Yes.
I love this idea. Yeah. I think, these mini tomatoes and peppers make gardening just more accessible for a lot of people, like whether you live in an apartment or I love this too. So this is cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because you can grow them anywhere. I mean, you can they have pictures of them just literally growing on the kitchen counter. I mean, you can, as long as you have bright enough lights, like, it's so cool.
Mary, I am jealous that you've had cool weather enough to slow things down. I'm sorry you're losing your tomatoes and peppers, though. So the order of things that are going to start to die off as it gets cold, cucumbers and peppers are going to be the first casualties. Tomatoes can go deeper into the year. They can handle colder temperatures than peppers and cucumbers. If it gets down like below 50s, the peppers are not going to recover. But if it stays above, low 50s, then yeah, you should be fine if it warms up a little bit. I'm not sure where you are though, Mary. Do you know where Mary is?
I don't.
Sorry, Mary. It's a great tip from Misty here. So you can get a bunch of free mulch. She contacted a local tree trimmer. There's a service that's set up called Chip Drop that does this also. And then also we get a lot of wood chips from the compost facility. A couple cities over from us has a bunch of free wood chips you can get.
Here, I'll pop this up real quick. And then she said, buy. So where do you buy the kitchen minis? So we have these kitchen minis actually through our app and parkseed.com. We get all of our stuff through there.
Question about whether or not we're going to have a feature in the app that reminds you when to fertilize. Yes. So this is something we're working on with our goal of being to have it out before spring. A couple of the major things that we're working on that we want to be out before spring are a planning feature that lets you visually see your garden beds and also recommends what you should plant where based on companion planting and where the sun is going to be and that type of thing. Also, we want to really beef up our reminders and our notifications to be based around just more action items for things in your garden, and fertilizing would definitely be one of those. Those are the main things. Also, a seed library. We're working on building the ability to keep track of the seeds that you have on hand, so you can keep track of your seed library in the app as well. So those are the main three things that we're working on right now, and this definitely ties into that. Well, I'm hoping that we can show the planning feature here in a couple weeks. I would like to start at least just showing it on a live stream to get y'all's feedback, to see what you think about it, because I don't want to build it the wrong way. I spend several months building something and then show it to you all, and you're like, this is not what we need at all. So we're almost at the point where we're ready to start doing things like that, where we're going to show some of these new features that we're working on. So it's awesome. We get a private demo every morning when we meet with Patrick, is the developer that's working on the planning feature. And he's so excited every morning to show us. Yeah, he's blowing it out of the water. It's so cool. He has such a creative mind on how he builds things and how he thinks through problems and problem solving. And it's awesome. So every morning we get to meet with him and see how it's going. And we talk about as a team as to what we like about it, what we don't like. And I wish I could show it right now. I'm so tempted to pull up a screenshot and show it right now, but I'm not going to do that to Patrick. I'm going to wait until he's ready and tells me I can show it to all of you. So a lot of people like the seed library. That's cool.
Yeah, I love that too.
Yeah.
Because even though we have ours, we have our seeds pretty organized in our binder, but still, I feel like it would be easier for me just to look in the app and just be like, okay, what do I have? And then go find it in the binder.
And it really ties into our newest feature. So we just released a new feature a week ago that allows you to take a picture of your seed packet and log a plant directly from that. Also like a plant tag. So we haven't talked a whole lot about it because we like to kind of slow release things. So we like to first tell all of you about it in the live stream. We have several of you that help us test features before they go out to anyone else, and then make sure it's okay there. And then we kind of release it, but don't talk about it a whole lot, and to see if anything comes up. And then, after we make sure everything's good, then we start screaming from the mountain about it. So we're in the still making sure everything works good phase of this, since it just came out a week ago. So let us know. Thank you, Todd. Appreciate that. It's fun. We're so thankful to Park Seed for allowing us this opportunity to work on it full time, because when we were doing this on the side, we were barely able to keep up with just keeping everything updated.
I know. We would have date nights where we would literally just stay up really late at night and just
drink a dangerous amount of energy drinks.
Yeah.
Yeah. So very thankful we get to do this on Tuesday at 12:54
I know.
instead of 12:54 a.m. on Friday, like we used to work on this.
I will say, Julia, so I did not know. Like, we did them several times.
Where are
Yes,
they?
I'm going to go
You gonna grab one? Don't trip over the light,
I
Cam.
will try not.
We got cables everywhere. Like, okay.
This is what we did. And we had the kids make, so it's so cute. The kids made our labels at the front to like, because we have 3 different binders. We have a cold season, a flowers, and then warm season. And then we got these like photo album. Yeah, it's not really focusing, but you get the gist of it. They're like those little photo album things that inserts. And then we just have them organized alphabetically in there. So, and I have like a variety for each page. So it's easy for me. I love it. It's my favorite way that we've done it. I feel like we've done it many different ways, and it's by far my favorite way.
Y'all should see her when she pulls out this binder. She looks so happy. She just pulls it out and she starts like just a big smile on her face. It's just going between pages and everything's all organized and happy. And it
is nice. It is really nice.
Yeah. We're both nerds. Okay. So let's do our giveaway. I do want to mention as well, if there's a question that you ask that's about your garden or something like that, I highly encourage you to check out Growbot. If you're a premium subscriber, you can just send a picture of whatever you're dealing with in your garden or whatever question you have, and it'll help you that way. If you're not a premium subscriber, then you do get the ability to just send it like a text message question, and you get and you get those every day for free as well. So you get unlimited if you're premium. So without further ado, our winner for today, who gets a 1-year freemium app subscription, is Julia Cruz. Congratulations. I know I saw a lot of questions from her coming up, so I'm not surprised. Appreciate you. Appreciate all of you for joining. We do these every Tuesday at the same time. All the past ones that we've done are on our YouTube, so you can check those out. Some of them have been about gardening topics. Some have been about how to use the app. Just a wide range of topics. We let a lot of your feedback drive what our topics are going to be too. So if there's something that y'all want to know more about,
it seemed like there was a lot of canning.
Yeah, we almost did preservation today.
That
was the plan, and then I was like, well, I really want to talk about zinnias, and then so then we just kind of snowballed from there, and we had like 15 more things we wanted to talk about. So, but I think next week, don't hold us to it, but probably preservation, because that's something we really want to talk about. It's coming up
in the near future. If it's not next week, it'll be in the near future.
And we just took a lot of pictures and videos of us doing it, so it makes it easier for us to do these when we have that to pop up on screen too. So now that we've got all that, we can do that. We got a few more minutes if there's any other questions that it's been really hard. So normally like one of us is in the chat and the other one is doing this, and we've got a pretty good like read on the questions, like one of us does, but I think both of us feel pretty lost right now as to what questions we have. But we did have Mariana star some for us we can look at here. So yeah, I love this. They're harvesting mint where she is.
Yes.
We're about to plant a lot of mint around the perimeter of our like grow bed where we've had mice going into, because it's supposed to help keep mice out. So
it worked for us before. I remember at our old house because we were having issues, and we just put a bunch of mint and did the trick.
We've done the craft box too. It works. It doesn't make her as happy as a binder though. There's just something about that binder that just takes her back to like 3rd grade, the first day of school, having everything organized, and that's the same thing.
I feel more organized. They're easier to get out and to put back in and to find where they go. I feel like whenever I had the craft box, like I had to like sort through like and find where I had them, and that's just me. Everybody's different.
Hey, welcome, Caitlin. She said she's never gardened, but her friend told her about this app. So tell your friend thank you for telling you about it, and let us know if you have any questions. You can find us on Instagram, here on YouTube. You can email us there.
I popped it up because there was a question about our email. So sorry.
I thought you were just on the spot. You're like, whoa.
Here you go. Email us. But yes, you can for sure email us. But yes, so Misty and was it Caroline? Julia Caroline. That was the middle name. Okay, yes. Here's the email address to email us.
Great question from Russell here. So we do have a section in the app that's called garden themes on the dashboard. If you scroll down a little bit, it has different themes of gardens. And one of them, I believe, is at least one or two of them is based around things that smell nice. But if not, we'll add another one. We're adding more and more flowers into the app all the time. A year ago, there were pretty much no flowers in the app. So, but Carrie's been adding a lot. If there's any specific flowers that you want added, let us know. Our goal is to have everything that's in our store in the app. That's what we're working towards. But there's a lot of flowers, so it's going to take a bit. Okay. Well, we are at 1 o'clock. I wish we had more time. So
I know. I'm sorry. I know there's still more questions.
Sometimes we do these that are nothing but questions and answers.
Yeah,
and
I think we need to do one of those again soon.
Yeah,
because I feel like we do have a lot of questions. So
we always feel that way after we have one of these where we don't keep up. Well, thank you everyone for joining. Y'all are awesome. You make it worth doing this. Having you here talking to us and stuff. It's super awkward if we're just talking to ourselves. So y'all make it fun. Appreciate y'all joining. And
also too, I want to remind you guys, if you didn't win and you still want to win after this is done and it closes out, go back in, comment again to be entered to win. Ask your question again if we didn't get to it.
Yeah.
And I'll try and hop in there.
Because we can see those. Like this whole chat, as soon as I click end, the whole chat goes away and we don't have any access to it. Or it's so frustrating because I know that like there were questions we wanted to answer, we forgot about. So just go post it again once it's up on YouTube. And
you'll get entered to win. Maybe you'll win next week.
And then we'll definitely see it.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you all so much for joining us today. And hopefully we will see you again next Tuesday.